This conflict between authenticity and attachment, really shows up in relationships, not just in one gender or the other, but primarily it's women who are programmed to be that way. And women are also programmed to meet their husbands or their partners' unmet infant needs. So that I've seen this in a lot of relationships, it's certainly been true in my relationship with Rae, is that I don't just show up as an adult, I also show up as a needy infant needing to be mothered. A lot of women take on that role of being the mother to their spouses, and that's poison to a relationship. You know why? Because it destroys intimacy and trust. I mean, what healthy guy wants to sleep with their mother? And what healthy woman wants to sleep with their son? And then you think, oh, there's something wrong with the other person. No, it's how we relate to that relationship. As Rae comes back into the room, I'll read you one more thing from the book. This is a diary kept by a pregnant woman during her gestation. Can you show that portrait, the gestational self-portrait? The slide number 1 here. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to read you this, that the mother is writing to her child in the womb. Dear little daughter or son, I feel you kicking inside me. I am terribly sad and discouraged and frightened now, but I love you and will protect you and nourish you with all the love in the world. This adrenaline you feel is not meant for you or flows because of you. One day I'll tell you about your gestation, and I hope that if you carry within you ambivalent or painful memories, when I tell you the truth, you'll be able to heal. Dear little child, your daddy will love you too when he gets to know you. He can't feel you moving inside you the way that I can feel you moving inside me. So wrote a pregnant mother to her unborn child. Little did she know when she wrote this that a whole life science before and since has proven that the mother's emotional states has a huge impact on the child's emotional and personality development already in the womb. The mother who wrote that was my wife, Rae. This is one of our children. And Rae's depression at the time wasn't intrinsic to her. It was a function of our relationship. And that's a painting that she did when she was pregnant with this child. It's called Gestational Self-Portrait. It's one of the illustrations from The Myth of Normal. And with that, and with thanks for your attention, I'll turn it over to Rae. Thank you.
Hello. That's a very moving passage that Gabor just wrote. I'm moved by it every time I hear it. The depression that I had it was a hard pregnancy because Gabor and I fought a lot. Gabor was in competition with a baby. I had 2 little children and another child who was needy because my focus is on the baby and on the kids. I did know, Gabor, when I wrote that, exactly what it was what the adrenaline, we'd had a fight when I wrote that. I wasn't depressed at the time. That came later. But when I wrote that, we'd had a fight and I'd been crying. And I could just feel the adrenaline in my body. And I painted that at about in May, May 1988, and Hannah was born in September, so I can't do the math, however pregnant I was. But I painted it to express the unity that we floated in the same, my unconscious and her, or the baby's, we were the same. We were floating in the same sea. So when I had this upset and I wrote this letter to the baby, it was because I intuitively knew that everything I was feeling, the baby was feeling, and wouldn't understand why and wouldn't feel safe. yeah, I was painfully aware of how the stresses on our relationship were affecting my kids. I didn't have the ego strength, or I wasn't secure enough in myself when my kids were small. This pregnancy happened when I was 40, and it wasn't planned. But my first baby at 27 and the second at 30, they were hard years. We had a really conflictual relationship. I was always feeling anxious that I was going to be left, that I was going to be criticized, that I was going to be rejected. And I didn't have the confidence at that time to say, look, my insecurity and my unhappiness here is not good for my kids. Had I been stronger, had I been the person I am now and very connected to my gut, I would have said, I love you, but I have to leave you because I'm too distracted by the tension in the relationship to focus on my kids. And in our particular case, I kind of think that would have probably corrected things, or if we did separate, we would have got back together because I feel like we really are soulmates and there's such a strong bond. But I wasn't able to stand up for what I needed back then. And part of what I want to say to everyone in the room, but especially the women, is that the patriarchy, it's just so pervasive, and even in 2024, where we're so aware, we're not free of it. It's like the air we breathe. And when a woman is pregnant and has children, she is vulnerable. Of course she is. And nature intends that society, the family, the community, the husband, take care of her, protect her so that she can focus on the kids. But so many women are in relationships with men who are themselves still babies on some level, the way Gabor talked, of having needs and rage and anger toward women that they're not even aware of, that women have to compromise. In order to not rock the boat, they have to swallow a lot. And I think that's where the illness comes in. I don't know what else I want to say about that, except that I urge all couples who are going to have children to really take the science seriously about what a child needs to develop healthy personalities, and work together to ensure that, and that means supporting the woman. Yeah. I did have, I'm going to go back to this baby. So she was born, and the first year, it was pretty good. I mean, in terms of my mood and her relationship. But it got very, very stressful around the time she turned 1. And I started feeling very anxious, and I stopped sleeping. I started having terrible dreams, and then insomnia. And the insomnia became really fixed. And I thought I was going crazy because I had so little sleep. It went on for 9 months. And really what it was about was I was so desperately unhappy in the relationship. There was so much tension, so much anger coming at me, so much. I wasn't supported in the way I needed to be supported. I had 3 kids and a workaholic husband who was angry at me a lot. So I took everything personally, because that's kind of what women do. Men tend to blame and women tend to take it on. I certainly did, and I just thought I was going crazy. At the same time, I was watching myself and watching our relationship and there was a part of me that was so alert. I couldn't act on it because I was too dependent and I was too unwell. But I was watching and I was learning. And at a certain point, I got better. I actually was put on an antidepressant that helped with sleep, and then things got better and better. And I did a painting when I realized that that it wasn't just me going crazy, but this was sort of like a postpartum depression, and it happens, and I'm part of a community that I'm not, it wasn't just me, it was a situation. And I saw, and I was able to tell Gabor exactly how it was and why I needed him to radically change, our relationship to transform. I did a painting and about rebirth. And can you show the birch tree woman? Whoever's on it. There it is. Okay, so while I was depressed during that 9 months, I used to go to Van Dusen Gardens, and I used to commune with a Himalayan birch tree that had eyes. And when I came out of this terrible anxiety, insomnia, depression, I felt like I saw the world through fresh eyes, upside down, inside out. And I just wanted to connect with the tree. At that time, I made huge changes in our lives. I made new rules. I stood up for what I needed. I was able to speak about all the things all the imbalances and all the things that I wouldn't live with anymore. And we transformed our marriage. We bought a property on Hornby Island, I wanted it because I felt our family needed the balance. I wasn't waiting for my husband to come along. I just took charge at that time. And it's been 55 years. Okay, so I get stronger and clearer and freer every week. Because we had a huge blow up like a week ago, as Gabor said, and we thought, how are we going to do this conference? And but every time we unpack it, because the truth is always available with these struggles, with these problems. There's something to be learned. It means that there's our light, and then there's a block. There's something blocking the truth, which is the love between us. And so what is it?